And so with us, it was basically hitting mindset in each week, plus certain skills that the coaches can be ready for to implement in their practices.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Champion School, first Champion School of 2022. It's been a while. We've had a lot going on, but we are back. As you can see, Christmas gift was my Nevada jersey, officially framed. I haven't been able to hang it up, but go Pack, give them a shout out.
Go Pack, shout out, come on.
But BZB, how are you, man?
Doing good, man. Just hit a little hike. Happy New Year. Excited about this, little 2022 action. A lot of good things happening here for the team. So super pumped that jacket's looking good there, man, with all those pops on it. Come on.
Let me move this mic out of the way for you guys. But yeah, no, I guess we should just give a quick update because I was going to do that in the good news of the week, but you have something even cooler, I would say. But for us, we finally got our project launched. Project Sandlot is officially launched. We've already raised about $15,000 for youth camps, which is insane. So we're going to be a slow, steady takeoff. And if any of you guys would like to contribute, I know the cryptocurrency and all that is a little bit strange. So reach out, we can help you out, but directly to projectsandlot.com or projectsandlotmint.com will get you there, and you can mint and purchase to help us out as well. But got to give a quick shout out to there's 75 people that have already purchased, just individuals, and they've really contributed, and we're really excited to be able to bring some of those funds and work with people like Tyson Ross, for example, or Jared Parker, just to be able to sit down and run some camps out in their communities. And it's going to be great to do some awesome stuff. So that's where we're at. Quick update on that. And yeah, that's about it for us. Do you have anything pertinent on the MLU side that people should know about?
No, MLU side, everything's good. I think for us, we got a couple cool events coming up towards the end of January here, and then just crushing some local stuff with the local teams that we've been working with. So the couple colleges and the couple high schools here locally, that'll be good in Arizona. And then moving forward into the spring, really the next step is getting our schedules lined up with camps and finding our typical February, March months, and then going into the summer, trying to figure out what we're going to do summer camp wise. So kind of designing all of these in the next couple of weeks, getting organized on that end. But other than that, man, it's been good. We've been hitting some good growth, working with a lot of great teams. Very grateful for that. And Zoom's been an awesome resource for us to plug in with some different people. So I'm excited to see where that goes.
Yeah, speaking of Zoom, this is an interview that we'd done a long time ago, and we're going to get to it here in a little bit later in the episode. But Ronnie Bernick is who's going to be joining us today. Outstanding interview, Hot Corner Athletics. The guy runs an insane program and does a really good job with the development on the individual level. So stick around for that. But before we get there, let's dive into the good news of the week.
Good news of the week. I'll take it out here, baby. I'll take the first part. I got three good pieces, right? Three good pieces. So number one, we'll start with they're all real news, but this one's real life. There was and some of us may have seen this. It happened a couple of days ago, but there was a pre-med student in the stands at a game. Let me double check the game. I think it said Canucks. Was it the Canucks? Yep. Vancouver Canucks assistant. So there was a lady in the stands, and she was a pre-med student, and she noticed a cancerous mole on the neck of one of the staff trainers on the Canucks. And so she said something. She's like banging on the window, passed him a piece of paper, and I believe saved his life. So This was just all from sitting behind the glass and paying attention, keeping the eyes open, and being able to see it. So that was pretty impressive. That was an incredible story, man. What a good way to start the week. That was one really good piece of news in the world. So, I mean, I can't even imagine. I'm speechless on that.
Yeah, I mean, that man could have gone on the next year of his life not knowing, and it could have been too late at that point. So shout out to that individual. And as a pre-med student, like not even like a doctor or anything. So just keeping your eyes open. And if you see something, say something, it's really important.
Very, very important. So that was really cool news. Love that. Love people helping people. That's huge. Number two, ABCA convention starts today, Thursday. So ABCA convention starts today. Ronnie, we're doing the podcast with him. So him and Dugout Coalition are going to be there. A lot of great people there, getting tons of videos and pictures sent over and questions. Where the heck are you? So it was fun to watch that. Good that they can get that off, and it looks massive. The stage is set. Great event there with ABCA. They do an awesome job helping coaches and athletes. And then the third, last but not least, Project Sandlot launch, baby. We are officially up and ready to go. I know Ray Mack can speak a little more on this with the process behind the scenes that nobody gets to see in the tireless hours that he's been working on this project, and he's been trooping it out. But super proud of him for the work he's done for making this thing come true, creating all these awesome characters. We have our reveal is going to be out before this podcast is out, but Friday night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, we're revealing on Twitter Spaces. If you haven't been on Twitter, or if you're not engaging much on Twitter, get into the spaces. We host a lot of spaces throughout the week. We're going to start having some different segments throughout the week as well that we'll sit down. I believe we're going to record our podcast through there as well pretty soon. So great opportunity to learn, great opportunity to connect with people and just build a community. So projectsandlot.com if you want to go mint and go get your NFT. Let's go.
Yeah, what a process, man. If you can see the bags under my eyes, it's because I haven't gotten a lot of sleep over the last couple of days. But yeah, we're officially off. We got to give a big shout out to Danny DeKroger, who really helped us out. We were in a bit of a pickle. Obviously, I'm a little bit further along in my coaching career than I am in my coding career. So the coding side of this thing was kind of difficult. I don't want to bore you with all the details, but long story short, we got a lot of help and the thing's up and running and we're good to go. So again, like he said, if you want to support youth sports, especially underprivileged ones in the smaller areas, the best way to help us out would be to purchase one of those. So anyways, a quick update too. I guess it's good news as we shift into this week's Zen, which is no longer going to be called This Week's Zen. It's going to be Chew on This, presented by Grinds. So that's backwards, I think, in your screen. But yeah, man, Grind's officially on board. We're going to be partnering with them in some aspect and going to be able to hook some folks up with discounts, because you and I both have had unique stories where we've passed on dipping, and Grinds has helped us with that. So if anybody, in that college range or coaching range that's wants to quit, I think it's a great spot to start. But Chew on This is the new segment presented by Grinds. Let's get it.
Hey.
All right, Chew on This. Very relevant. I wanted to kick it off to you and ask your thoughts, but this is what I wanted to talk about today: is staying the course. Like our perceptions of things sometimes, or going into something, maybe even expectations for ourselves, can be so astronomically high, right? Like for us, for example, like we're going, oh, we got to sell this thing out like within the first 2 weeks. Or if we're not getting all the sales that we'd hoped, we start stressing. And for me particularly, I have anxiety when that starts kicking in. So maybe just hit on that and what it means to have expectations, realistic expectations versus, the dreams and wants, of course, which are totally okay to push for. Does that make sense? You want to hit on that?
Oh yeah. It's like the Instagram versus reality.
Bingo.
If anybody ever sees it,
Bingo.
It's like, here's what Instagram looks. It looks pretty. It looks beautiful. Everything's filtered. And then here's reality: the wind blowing in your face, the wave that knocks you off the boat, and a lot of other things that start to happen. So within the process too, it's been fun to watch this for Project Sandlot wise and MLU wise. Starting MLU, there was a ton of those. My first expectation was, okay, we're going to get into every school in the nation and nobody's going to say no. Well, it was the complete opposite of what happened. Was we're not going to get in any school in the nation and everybody is going to say no, or I don't have a budget, or I don't have this or that, whatever the question might be. So staying the course and just being able to remain consistent with your actions is very important. And then like what we've been talking about, hey, let's just get one holder a day. Like, let's just keep building one holder a day, sell one pop a day, keep growing the team. And that is going to continue to spread. So it starts to create a compound momentum that works in your favor. Staying the course too, when you get into some ruts or you get into the mental grind of things, it becomes emotionally invested. So we put so much time and effort into these. We sacrifice a lot of extracurricular stuff and trips and family and those things to make these things happen, right? To create a business that's hopefully sustainable for a long time to come. And when it doesn't instantly hit, you get a little discouraged because you're like, well, I think it's sweet and we're super prideful into it. So if it doesn't hit right away, that's okay. There's another opportunity coming your way. And for us, just remaining the course and reminding ourselves what the true vision and mission of the project is and anything you're doing in life. So very important to take a real introspective look. Would that be it? I hope I'm right on that. But I'm taking a look inside for all of us, right? And being able to just realize, hey, what is the things that we're proud of? What are the things that we're doing? And what is our true mission and vision at hand? And I really like that. So we've been tested with that too, for sure.
It is what it is, I've got to start reminding myself, and I've done a better job over the last day or two, that, hey, these are always longer games than you think, I think Mike Tyson's trainer used to say, you always imagine your first time opponent as bigger, stronger, and faster than they really are, right? Because we just put this thing out there that, like, gosh, this is a scary monster, but game's not over, man. It's always a long game, and you just stay the course. Like you said, 1% better, as Jay talks about every day. And you're going to wind up where you want to be if you start looking at the big picture versus the immediate wins and losses. So yeah, that's going to do it for us for that. And we're going to shift into Ronnie Bernick.
Let's go.
Yeah. And who's going to be joining us and talking a lot about his facility, his programs, Hot Corner Athletic Dugout Coalition, everything he's been doing. He's impacted a lot of lives just with himself. A quick note, we kind of just jumped into this one. So if it feels like, wow, he's just talking, this is the very start of the interview. So bear with us. Okay. Ronnie Bernick.
So I started in 2016, actually. I had literally no money, and it was more of just, I had a guy who I was trying to buy rent out my building at first. And he basically saw me coach my team that I was running at the time. And I never met him in my life. And he was like, yeah, I'll help you. I'll take care of you. I'll take care of the first, your first opening. And initially as an investor, he didn't really think that he was going to have to ever do anything else with me. Now, obviously I've used him more than just that one time, but I got really lucky. I was in the right spot at the right time. And I was doing my best to provide as much value to the athletes that I was coaching for my travel team. And I just happened to be in front of the right guy that was willing to, take a flyer on me for opening my building. So when I opened my first facility, we had 4 cages and I was the only coach. So I had a lot of space and I was the only guy. We started with like 30, 40 athletes. That was it. And within the first year we had 600. And I started, it was wild.
Wow.
Because I always, and this is, I think, the reason why Byler and I kind of connected early was I've always done everything based on the value for kids and families, because I had coaches that did that for me. So when I'm going to give back to the game, it was all about providing as much value as I could to people. And that clicked really fast in our area, because the majority of what our dynamic is we have facilities that only rent out space. And then we have travel teams that either have their own facility or they do their own thing. And with us, we were a bridge between that. So we're a baseball facility, but we don't have travel teams. We only do player development. So now I can literally be friends with everybody. I don't have any enemies, because I'm not trying to fight to take kids. I'm not trying to argue with other facilities. I'm trying to get teams in. We just train athletes. And so we developed a system. Initially, it was by myself, just doing baseball and softball specific training. And we just worked with as many athletes as we could. So after the first year, we had 600 kids, and I ended up having to go get more coaches. So I started hiring some people. I got my first pro guy. So I had a kid that was drafted in the 6th round by the Twins out of high school. And after that, it just exploded. So it was like, we got up to over 1,000 athletes. And then Sam, who's a partner in Dugout Coalition, he's also one of my partners here at Hot Corner. He came to me and said, hey, why don't we do something for the body? Let's do some strength and conditioning and some baseball specific sports performance stuff. And I was kind of skeptical. I was like, I can't do it in my location. It's going to have to be a different place. And we have no athletes. Like, we have nobody. And again, blew up within a year. We couldn't even stay in the place that we were at, because we were hitting the, baseball specific technique, player development. And then we were also hitting the strength and conditioning, which was like massive in our area, because we were the first people to do both. That was like in that niche of just baseball and softball specific. So during COVID, everybody was going crazy on what we were going to do. Dugout Coalition got started. We'll talk about that in a little while. So DC gets started, and we actually merged facilities. So we brought the strength and conditioning and the baseball in the same place. I took out 2 of my cages. I mean, we did full renovation in my location, and COVID year was actually by far not even close to our best year because we were allowed to be open. And so we actually had like 50% occupancy and in our building that was pretty much full because the occupancy was higher than what we could actually handle with our space. So because the kids weren't in school, we were able to be open from like 13, 14 hours a day and just run kids all day long. And they wanted to get out of the house. So with baseball school that we were doing and with our training, we ended up being an outlet for kids that they didn't have anywhere else to go. So our program grew from 1,000 to 2,000. Now I'm in a 4,000 square foot facility. I can't handle 2,000 kids anymore. Right. So we ended up finding the location that we moved into last month. That's it's 17,000 square feet. It's 4 times the size of what we were at. And we had 2,000 athletes in last month as our first month. So
crazy, dude.
And it's all about reach. Like everything for us is about how many athletes and coaches and people can we actually reach to grow the game. It has never been at any time about money. It's never been about how many athletes can we get to play professional baseball. It's always been about, let's set some goals for each athlete. Where do you want to go? And then you trust us and we're going to develop a plan that's going to get you there. And by doing that and actually reaching families and kids, I think that we've really made an impact in our area. And I think that's the reason why we're doing well is because we actually just genuinely care about people. And then we also we're starting to get into the mental performance stuff. So I've leaned a lot on Jake with Bam Fam on like kind of what their leadership academy is that they do with their team. And we're starting to do like in-house, mental performance stuff. So now we're hitting the mind, we're hitting the body, and we're hitting the sport. So we are in that area now where we're full encompassing on hitting every piece of the game that can help. Cause like you guys do a great job of this, but you run into athletes that have a really hard time handling failure. And so, that's something that we work on a lot now in conversations and meetings that we have and, doing some type of leadership-ish type academy with some of the athletes that we have here. So, we're trying to be an all-encompassing program, but I think the reason why we do so well is because it's value. It's what we really care about people, but I don't have to have any enemies, which is my favorite thing in the world. I don't have to fight with travel teams because I want to work with you. And I don't have to fight with facilities because I want to work with you too. So, it's been a really fun ride for Hot Corner, and we really blew up in the last year or so. I've already gotten calls about facility 2, 3, and 4, and we're trying to leverage it because I don't know what to do. I don't want to do it too fast, but we got 2,000 pretty happy people in Buffalo right now, and we're still trying to obviously grow that. But I think we want to get into the coaches, and that's kind of where DC comes in. So, but Hot Corner has been really fun up to this point. We've got 19 employees and 8 interns. We're hiring a ton of interns because kids want to learn more, so we're giving people opportunities to come in here and actually like learn about what we're trying to do. And it's been really cool. It's been fun.
The best part about it, Ronnie, is like you said earlier, the value that you get to bring and doing it for the value, not always the financial component, which usually comes after the value that you provide. And then like leaning on others too. I mean, you hire Sam, for those of you who don't know, Sam's awesome. The dude kills it, crushes it all day. Obviously you got your brother involved, right? You got so many different people involved at just the Buffalo location. You guys are going to definitely spread, but meeting some of the kids through that baseball school that we did back during the COVID year, it was like April 2020. For those of you who don't know, we did 4 weeks straight, five days a week of baseball school, an hour for coaches, an hour for athletes, back to back every day. And it was just all free. Hey, come on in. And the first day we had like 280 kids. It was insane. And some were spamming and, kind of not very good, but a lot of them stuck. And it was like 150 to 200 for the most part for the next 4 weeks. And just providing that outlet for kids to be able to have a good spot to be connected with others is really, really cool. You mentioned that you want to dive more into the coaches, right? And I think for you, your philosophy has grown over the years, and you have a great philosophy. You do an awesome job developing athletes and getting them to the next level. You have multiple draft picks. Now you had a first rounder just recently, Joe Mack, and I hope I didn't botch that, Joe Mack, but Marlins, right? And you were there for the experience, dude. I got 2 questions for you now. This is crazy. Now I'm getting into too many. Number one, walk us through the experience of seeing one of your players be drafted in the first round by any team, right? Doesn't matter. And you're at that that event. And then number 2, lead into Dugout Coalition and what you guys are trying to do with Bam Fam and those guys. They're incredible people. You guys are amazing. And what you're trying to do with Dugout Coalition for coaches.
For sure. The whole Joe Mack situation was like euphoric. Like it's the only word I can come up with. I did it with his brother, Charlie. So Charlie was our first draft pick and he went to the Twins in the second round in 18. But Charlie was like a lot of area guys, a lot of cross checkers, some assistant GMs, but maybe some scouting directors. But with Charlie, it was like the first ride. Like you're learning a lot. Where with Joe, it was like GMs, assistant GMs, scouting directors, and they're there every week. And we're talking about like, they're on me because they know how close I am to him. And they're not going to go to the parents, right? Because pro baseball is pro baseball. They know can't go to the parents. There's too much emotion. So they're coming to me and I'm talking like I'm on the phone for hours every single day talking to somebody about where's Joe Mack? When's he hitting? Who's he playing tonight? Is the pitcher any good? You know, why is his swing doing this? How's his pop time? How's his body feeling? It's like, you know, they're all over me. I had to send them Rapsoda reports, his workout programs. I had to talk to strength coaches for every organization that was really interested in him. And that wasn't even leading up to the draft. You know, that was literally just like him playing 15 high school baseball games. And because they played late, everybody else was done. So Buffalo baseball started like May.
Wow.
What? Like really, really late. So I'm talking like every single scout was already done with all their other guys. It was literally Joe Mack. So as we get closer to the draft, we kind of have a few teams that we think are going to really be players. And realistically, the cool thing for me was I was able to listen to every conversation. I was in the agent meetings. You know, I was there obviously with the family. I'm very close with the family. And then when we actually got out to the draft, it was like, hey, here's the deal. You're going 16 to the end of the CBA. And that's pretty much where we see you. And this is all stuff I can say now, obviously, because it's done. But we didn't know where, because we knew that there were about 5 or 6 teams that were really interested. And a few of them had early teen or late teen picks. And they also had like late first round picks. So we didn't know where he was going to fit in. What ended up working out, we're like, we knew the Marlins were players. We knew the White Sox were players. And we knew everybody in the 20s were players. What came down to money. And for people that don't know about the baseball bonusing, is they can change the bonus for every pick, depending on what their pool is. So people like Joe dropped to 31 and people say it was a drop, but he got more like signing bonus at 31 than he would have got anywhere in the 20s. That's of who picked him. So Miami ended up taking Cleo Watson at 16 because Cleo dropped out of the top 5. And literally right away, it was like, all right, Joe, 30 of the Reds or 31 of the Marlins is kind of the way this is shaking out. And I started texting because we had a huge party at the old place for Joe. And I started texting everybody like, hey, Joe's going 30 of the Reds. And we're sitting there and you're in draft room. Like I'm talking like the most euphoric, like craziest experience of my life. I mean, I'm standing next to Neil Walker, Derek Lee, like we got Nick Swisher was there. He's the coolest guy in the whole world. Like we're talking to all these guys, Curtis Granderson, and no joke, like we're sitting there and Joe gets a phone call. And everybody just like looks over and tries to listen to what's going on. So we thought he was going 30th. And literally it was last second they picked this other high school kid because they got him for less money. And so we knew that he was going to go 31 of the Marlins. And literally it was weird how it works out. And I think this is part of the way my mind works. I think it was fate. And I kind of had an idea like leading into the day. I was like, I think he's going to be a Marlin. I ended up running into Derek Lee, who was the guy that was sitting with the Marlins. And he doesn't know me from anybody. I ended up talking to him for like 10 to 15 minutes about Joe. And he kind of looked at me and was like, oh, you're with Joe Mack. And I was like, yeah. He was like, oh, I might be seeing you later. And I was like, interesting. You know, then he gets picked. And I'm like, my gosh, like this is wild. Yeah. And we did all the interview and we were in the green room. We took all the pictures and like, just really, really, really cool experience. And like, I might never go back to the draft ever again. I'm super thankful that the family invited me to go. And then we also went to Miami too. I was invited to go to Miami. We spent time with Derek Jeter, which was like, he's the most amazing person on planet Earth. Like he's literally everything that you would think he is as a leader and a human being is what he is. He's the nicest guy I've ever met in my whole entire life. You know, we met him, we met Kim Ng, you know, she obviously was there for the signing. You know, he was on TV. We got to sit in the suites for 2 games in a row, all that kind of stuff. So the experience itself was really cool. But I think for me, it was a good learning experience to really understand like the business behind baseball. You know, because you don't know that stuff until you're in it. And it's pretty cutthroat. Like it's the real deal. Like it's a full contract. Like it's the real deal.
A lot of people don't get it, right? It's like you see it from the outside. It's like you see all this stuff, but then you got the business behind it. I mean, you see it with the lockout now. You see all the other stuff that pops in with it. It's like a whole nother breed, man. Like this undercover, I don't want to say scheme, but this undercover business that just kind of goes by the wayside. Nobody really sees it.
We got a big leaguer, actually. He pitched, he got brought up late in the year with the Mariners last year. Matt Brash, he was the organizational pitcher of the year for the Mariners this year. And he trains at our place. And I was just talking to him yesterday, and he said, like, right before the lockout happened, every coach was like blowing him up, saying, listen, man, you need to start throwing. Like, we need to get you ready for January. You're coming down to Arizona in January. Lockout happens, nothing. He can't talk to anybody.
Yeah, nobody's allowed. No one, like the coaches were instructed, like don't talk to anyone at all. If you get caught with the player, like if you run into a player at the grocery store, you have to go the other way. If you run into the players, or if you run into the coach's wife, you have to walk away, because if you run into him, you have to report it and say that you had physical contact. I mean, think about it. Like this is the MLB, dude, who's supposedly for all the kids and the players and this and that. But you are telling me that a coach can't speak to a player, even if they're friends. What?
Yep. That's so he basically told me, he was like, listen, man, like because he's supposed to go to Arizona in January, because he's on a 40 man now. Like he's big time, big league, the guy, right? And he said, he's like, if I can't go to Arizona because of, the lockout, he's not going to go home. He's a Canadian kid. He's not going to go home. He's going to stay here and train. And I was like, you're more than welcome, because, if you're going to be in the big leagues, like he's probably going to start in AAA, let's say, but like, if you're going to be in the big leagues at some point next year, like you got to be super ready. And if you can't go to Arizona for the team that you play on in the big leagues, like you were in the show the last week of the season and you can't go, like, we'll take care of you. It was just wild having that conversation and kind of really understanding. Like I got it from both sides. I got the big league side of it yesterday talking to him, and I got the draft side of it, with Joe. So, it was a cool experience, because now I understand kind of what the business is like. But it's wild to think about, you got all these kids and they're chasing the dream, and I love it because they're chasing the game. But it really does go back to the whole idea that you have to 100% love it. 100% you have to love the game, and you got to have fun, because at some point, whether it's college or professional, there's a job and a business behind it, unfortunately. And there's a grind to it too. And so you really do have to love the game and have a ton of fun in the game. And that's the one thing I see with these guys that really, really make it, is they love everything about the process, the work, the grind, the lifting. They love everything about it. And so the business side of it is what they leave to agents and other people that are qualified to do that. But, if you're trying to juggle the business side of it plus the baseball, it can be really defeating, just like the game can, because you don't really have an idea of what's really going on. So, but the whole, like I said, the Joe Mack thing was cool. He signed the 5th highest signing bonus for a high school catcher of all time. The cool thing is they take care of school. Like he's set, they sign card deals, like he's pretty set, and he earned it. I would say he's a 7-day-a-week guy, hits every single day, catches every day, lifts every day, works on his sprinting, takes care of his mobility. Mindset's awesome. He's been able to handle failures. He's played on a high level circuit for a long time. So, he's earned every single bit that he's gotten, and we're super proud of him, and it's been nice having him here. So
that's incredible. That's incredible. Ray, you got anything? Or dive into DC, dude. Phil's in on DC, and then Ray, I'll kick it off to you. But dive into Dugout Coalition, what it's all about. What are you guys doing for coaches? What's like the mission? You guys have kind of exploded over the last year, really, since the last time we spoke about it, and seeing where it's going and seeing just the people behind it is what makes everything the best, I believe. So if you have good people doing it for the right reasons, and you guys take so much time and put so much time into it and effort, and I know it from the inside, but filling the people from the outside that have no clue what we're talking about right now. What is it about? What are you guys doing?
Yeah. So initially, after once we really got established, it was the Baseball Academics Midwest and the Hot Corner crew that was kind of getting it started. So it was me, Sam, and my brother Nicholas, and then Jake and Adam with BAM Fam. And so just so people that don't know, BAM is a massive travel organization in Indiana. They do a great job. They're big into mindset training, and they're big into skill training, and they do a really good job of that stuff. So the mergers has been pretty good. The biggest thing with us is we're trying to raise the bar for coaches development. And I think for us, when we're thinking about value, right? I can't work with 2,000 people, and Jake and Adam can't work with 2,000 people, and Nicholas can't work with 2,000 people. Same with Sam. So when you develop coaches, or that's the mission, is you're trying to help develop coaches and get their knowledge and IQ of the game up. What ends up happening is now you're reaching hundreds of thousands of kids. And that's the ultimate goal. the value of the game and growing the game is the biggest thing. And so what we thought was, how can we actually grow the game from the coaches? We can obviously help in that and do a good job in that, but how can we develop the coaches that can develop the athletes? And so we developed a baseball specific certification last year with a player development portal on top of that. And the coaches certification is an 8-week course that goes through mindset training, skill development, how to practice plan, a 12-month throwing outline. We really outline everything, like some general basic stuff on drill work, but we teach coaches basically how a practice structure should look. How should you guys warm your athletes up? That's a big part of it. How do you structure the things that are really important for you throughout the course of practice? And it's kind of like meetings where you set times to do and talk about certain things. It's the same thing in practice. You want to set times to work on things that you guys need to get better at. And so I think the biggest thing for us was kind of helping them structure that. So the coaches certification, again, it's an 8-week course. Every week we hit mental training, which is a massive piece that I think is being left behind a lot of times, is we go a lot into skill training and a lot into technique and strength. And we forget about the mind, which is the majority of the game is going to be based on your mind anyway. That's the number one piece. So in our coaches training, we're the 6-tool training system where we hit all the 5 tools plus mindset. And so with us, it was basically hitting mindset in each week, plus certain skills that the coaches can be ready for to implement in their practices. And then the cool thing is this year, we actually brought on a softball coach who developed a full softball certification that's designed strictly for softball. So that's where we go into, it's a different game. So we go into slapping and we go into defensive schemes and bunt plays and, the different types of stuff that need to go into a softball course. And those 2 are done. And our plan from here is to basically take each 5 of us, separate into regions and really do a good job of helping coaches that want to learn, which a lot of coaches do if they're taking the course, is they want to learn from us, so they're taking the course, but then we just let them go, then they're kind of on their own. And I think for us, we're trying to separate into regions so that each of us can take a certain part of the country that we can help the coaches. For example, if I take the Southwest, I'm going to hit everything down where you guys are at. And my goal would be to basically manage that area of the country to help those coaches, from little leagues to travel organizations, to high-end travel organizations, to Babe Ruths, to, your A, B, and C travel teams. And we're really trying to put together something for everybody. Right now we have 1 cert. It's done really well. It started with just our 2 organizations and it's obviously expanding off now. We're going to be at the ABCA. So I'm really excited to see you guys there. Yes. But our goal is to basically just help coaches and give them a framework and a guide on, these parent coaches that are volunteering all their time in the whole world. And unfortunately, they're hearing so many negatives about not knowing anything and why are you even doing it? And so we just want to help them, because you got all these dads and moms that are volunteering a ton of time to help these kids. So let's guide them and give them the right tools to be able to actually help develop kids until they're ready for somebody like Hawk Warner, where we can actually take them and develop them to what the next level is. But if we can give every kid a good framework, from the coaching staff, then we're really gonna give value to a lot of people.
So good.
You guys are working with, it's primarily high school age, obviously, or in that window. And we have a ton of travel ball and high school coaches that listen to the podcast, obviously. So what are some tips that you would say, maybe for somebody starting up or even really just development for their team that's going to help them take their program to the next level?
Yeah, I still think high school is about foundation. Like the kids are not physically developed yet. We have freshmen that are strong, but they're still developing as people. Think about it. When you guys played or coached in college, you're still developing strength in your athletes in college. So I think the one thing that happens in high school is we're going away from fundamentals because we're pushing the showcase deal so much, right? And we're pushing kids to commit as freshmen and we're pushing kids to commit as sophomores. And so what's happening is they're losing fundamental baseball. They're losing baseball IQ. They're losing proper ground ball mechanics. They're losing, just the general sequencing part of swings that should be a foundation for every single level of baseball. I work with our pro guys on sequencing still, and I think that if we as high school, even middle school, because there's middle school, like school baseball now, like if we start hitting them in like 7th grade, I say up until 6th grade, I don't even know if you're going to like the game. Have fun, find ways to stay engaged in the game, find the love for it, play wiffle ball, play kickball, bat opposite side of the plate sometimes and have a good time. And that's going to keep you in the game a long time, because when you enjoy that side of it, you're going to play for a long time. And then once you hit 7th, 8th grade, let's really dive into the fundamentals and let's start to actually sit you down, make sure we know exactly where you're deficient. So we assess every athlete, every single athlete that's 13 years old or older, we assess to make sure that we can go to the families and say, hey, this is where you're deficient. And we know that based on our assessment. And this is the program that we highly recommend based on what your athlete can do right now. And we're going to reassess them every 3 months. And we're going to make sure that we put programs together for them to continue to develop. But everything for us is based on foundational stuff. And that's why for me, it's not groundbreaking, because I'm just doing what the game's been doing for the last 100 years. But we're really focusing on development, like really, really focusing on foundational stuff. So, from a hitting perspective, if a kid, like, he might have the worst bat path in the world, but if his lower half isn't working the right way, I'm not even going to touch the bat path, because we know that baseball's through the ground. And if we don't get the ground right first, everything else up the chain is going to be out of whack anyway. And I'll tell the families that, like, listen, I know your athlete's upper body's not working the way that we want. His contact probably isn't what he wants. Ball flight's probably not what he wants it to be. But because the lower half isn't working the way that we need it to, I'm not going to worry about it right now. I've got 6 months to train him, and I'm going to use that 6 months to make sure that I hit everything. But this is the process that we're going to take. And I think that's a big thing for high schools too. Like, we want to win. I get it. But when you have a foundation, like a good fundamental foundation, you'll win a lot of baseball games. It goes the foundation of mindset. Like, very, very simply, make sure you have athletes that have a vision, and make sure they're working on that vision, make sure they have some goals, make sure they're meditating or doing some breathing exercises and getting themselves back to center. Because if the foundation of your mind isn't in a good place, you're probably not going to perform. Right. From a physical standpoint, you don't need to be the strongest guy, but your body needs to work. So you need to be able to move. You need to be able to actually do the explosive movements that baseball requires. So yeah, you need to lift. If you're not trying to go to the big leagues, then lift enough to be an athlete that's going to contribute to your team. If I need you to be a guy that's going to hit the ball hard enough to score a run, it might be weight room stuff, right? So I'm not saying that you need to be a bodybuilder, but you definitely need to work on your body to make sure that you're productive for the team that you're playing on. And then from a skill perspective, I think that's what our coaches do a great job of, is that they're really, really good at making sure that we basically slow-mo the foundation. I will not rush a guy out of foundational work. And that's development. Development is basically taking the core of the mind, the body, and the skill, and making sure that that's our focus. And then once a kid has the foundations, they're going to be a stud, because then we can go off into, all the crazy stuff that the big time schools are doing and pro organizations are doing. But like I said, I'm not going to rush a kid, even if he's a junior. If he doesn't have the right foundation, then I'm not going to rush him out of that just so he gets recruited, because at the end of the day, I want to have a relationship with all these colleges. I'm not going to send a kid who's not ready. It's not a good situation for me, the athlete, or the coach. Right. Yeah. So we got to make sure that it's a good fit for everybody. So foundation is number one, fundamental.
Foundation. So good. Go ahead, Ray.
I'll hit that and send it over. It's just like, it's so important if you're starting a business or you want to train an athlete, either way, is to have your training methods set up, right? A to Z, so that when you are doing it, it's piece by piece, because there's so many times, and I've done it as a coach too, where it's like you said, hey, let's move on to bat path. Everybody is ready for bat path except for like this group. So let's go. Well, that group is going to be stuck on lower half or not get past that lower half stage. And you're going to have to fix everything later anyways. So take your time at the steps. And even in business, make sure you know how the business is going to work A to Z, and we'll start at the foundation. Because if you have to backtrack, like, you're screwed, basically.
You spin your wheels. Yeah. And with an athlete, like, and I always say this, like, as a coach, my job is to develop you. That's my role. That's my role in this whole piece. I'm only a piece of the puzzle, but my role is to help with development. And if I don't do the development stuff the right way, I'm setting you up as an athlete for failure. So I can give you the framework on what's going to work for you. And then obviously it's your job as the athlete to do the work.
Yep.
Like, if you tell me that you want to be a draft pick and I see you once a week, you're probably not going to be a draft pick. I'm sorry. But your goals and your actions have to line up with that. And that kind of goes into our core values. Like, we call them the diamonds of success at Hot Corner. And this is kind of our foundation as a business. And we go, leadership's number one. So you got to be a good person, and you got to make sure that you're leading by example. So we want you to lead as a good person, and you want to be elite in everything you do in your life. You want to be elite in school. You want to be an elite person. You want to be an elite family member, an elite athlete, just all around. We want you to be elite. And that leads into the second point, which is character. And character rides on how you act, right? And so I think those two things will hit the mindset stuff. So leadership and character, I think, are big, because you have to consciously focus on the way that you're acting all the time. And I think that drives in the mindset stuff. So that'll get you to think about kind of what you're doing. Hard work, it's very simple. Every big leaguer I've heard from, every high level business guy is just keep working through the grind. Just keep working. You know what I mean? And you're going to go up, you're going to go down, but if you just keep grinding through it, you're going to get there. And then culture. Our big thing at Hot Corner is that we drive a great culture. So those are the 4 staples to how we run our organization. And if the athletes can do those 4 things, they don't think this because they always think it's about how many swings they take or how much they lift. But if they can handle those 4 foundations of continuing to push, so work hard, create a good culture. So be a good person that's around everybody else. You want to be an energy, you want to bring good energy. You don't want to suck energy out of people. Right. So when you're here, like the one thing I'll always say is a kid can be the strongest guy in the world, but if you're not bringing good energy that day, what do you want me to do? I can't do anything because the 10 people that are around you that are looking up to you are now going to think it's okay to come in here with bad energy, and we want to be an outlet for people, so a lot of kids have a lot of stuff going on in their lives and COVID definitely hurt that, so what we always tell people is bring a good culture here, because if this is an outlet for 2,000 kids, this needs to be a good outlet. I don't want kids to have stress at home or stress in school and then come to Hot Corner and have even more stress. So we hit those 4 staples and that goes into the foundations of everything else that we do. And honestly, I would say that the majority of the athletes that are committing to playing college are the guys, it doesn't matter what level of college, and girls, but those are the athletes that carry out the diamonds of success the best. And so now when we go to talk to a college, I can say, these are our 4 core values. This athlete that you're about to get represents all 4 of those. And I've watched it for the last 5 years. And so that's kind of like, and that's with the schools, like I think with high school and travel baseball, just develop a framework on how you want that to run and just run with it. Like for us, like we didn't know that these 4 were going to be our staples. We thought that that's what we wanted and we're seeing it blow up, which is awesome. But if one of them was a bad link, just take it out and remove it and put a new one in. Yeah. But those 4 for us have really worked and it hits the kids, and then we actually track it. So, I know you guys have the blueprint for success, through MLU. We have an athlete notebook and every single daily sheet that the athletes do, they have to write in some type of mental training, what their warm up was, so their strength stuff, and then what their skill development was. And on the back sheet, they also have, the self-reflection for the day, positive, negative, and any type of constructive work to move forward. And what I tell them is you have to write something positive every single day, no matter what. You could have swung and missed 1,000 times in a row. I know you learned something when you were here that needs to be positive. So, you can say, well, I swung and missed too much and my eyes weren't working and I couldn't see the ball that well. That's fine. But I need something positive. You can obviously do something constructive and then how you're going to actually attack that plan moving forward. So, we track everything. And I think for us, creating foundations and being able to track that is holding a lot of the athletes accountable. And I think it's an easy thing that teams can do, even if the coach might not have the highest baseball knowledge. They can still run it as if they had a business, and have some foundations and, the framework that they want to run.
Really good. I love the foundation piece. And it's like the New England Patriots. I think we even spoke about it yesterday and how they just keep showing up and getting the job done. Like, what you're going to get out of the Patriots. You're going to get somebody who's disciplined, a team who doesn't make stupid mistakes. They're going to do things the right way. They're going to be patient too with the ball in bad weather, whatever it is. And they take care of the ball. And it's like those little things, like they're not the most talented team in the NFL right now. There's plenty of teams that have way more talent. Josh Allen's a freaking stud, right? But for the Patriots, they do those little things the right way. And it shows out there on the field. The fact that they're still winning now is like unreal. And I think they might even be better than they've been in a while. Like, it's crazy to watch. So just seeing people lay the foundation, Ray, you said it best too with the business piece, like having a good foundation, building it up. Conversation this morning, good community behind whatever it is that you're doing, and you keep building it up. And that's why you guys have been so successful at Hot Corner and why Dugout Coalition's going to continue to skyrocket, because it's just getting started, right? And we want to be a part of it and help you guys get the word out west too, for sure on that end. One more question before we wrap up, and I'll kick it to Ray for the on it or off it game. Right. This is a question that comes up a lot, and I'm sure you get it in your town. So we go to a bunch of small towns, as you know, and we run clinics and do a lot of stuff for the youth. And some of the stuff there, common questions are limiting beliefs as far as, I'm in a small town, I can't be seen. I'm too small. I'm not big enough. I don't throw hard enough. I don't run fast enough. I don't hit the ball far enough. I don't pick it good enough. I'm not the case of the twos, right? Too short, too small, too tall, too whatever. What's your best advice? Because you've seen it firsthand there in Buffalo, and you're doing an amazing job of it. But and you experienced it yourself, right? You experienced yourself in your own background of playing. What's your best advice to an athlete if you had somebody come into you and they had any of the case of the twos or any of the limiting beliefs that I know you guys hammer home with Dugout Coalition? What's your best piece of advice for those kids?
Yeah, that goes back to my love piece and my fun piece. If you enjoy it, it doesn't matter. All those external factors just don't matter. I'm 5'9". I started a shortstop at a D1 school that was ranked for 3 years. I'm 5'9". I'm like in the Altuve conversation, man. You know, like it does. And there was a kid that went to Manhattan College that was drafted. He was 5'6".
Mm-hmm.
You know, like size, all those are just excuses into basically using baseball as just a way to continue to have fun. Because I think, like I said, we're pushing so many athletes to like get the Division I scholarship. And, you know, that goes back to love and fun. Your size doesn't matter. Jose Altuve, say what you want about the whole, you know, what they did. That dude loves baseball, absolutely enjoys the game. And you can see it. So he's 5'6", 5'5", whatever you want to call it. He loves the game. So the size never mattered. You know what I mean? I read the Mariano Rivera book. I mean, like that book is unbelievable. Like the guy would go out and he would literally, for them to eat, he would have to go and fish and get food for the day. And then would like throw a couple baseballs and then like went to a tryout and just could like threw the baseball wherever he wanted. Now he's the best closer of all time. And it's like, we as people don't realize we make excuses a lot because, you know, we don't see what everybody else is seeing around the world. Like what Rivera had to go through, everybody in the DR, Cuba, the kids in Cameroon, my gosh, that guy sends me videos all the time. What they're doing is amazing. We don't realize that we actually have it a lot better than a lot of people. We can get over being 5'9". We can get over being 120 pounds. We actually have resources here that can help us change those things. But it goes into the mindset of how much do you actually enjoy this game? How much fun are you having? And how hard are you willing to work to chase whatever your dream is mentally? You know, because all those physical things can change. You know, if you're 5'9", maybe you do have to be a little bit stronger. If you're 6'4", you might not have to lift nearly as much. You got leverage. You know, you can still lift and probably be in the big leagues, but you know, if you're setting excuses, probably just don't love it as much as you say you do. You know, realistically is what I always say. You know, and that goes into self-reflection and self-awareness too, right? Yeah. Like the draft never happened for me. And like I talked to some people and, you know, it is what it is, but I love this game so much that I decided to make a career out of it. You know, I try to explain that to a lot of our kids that just because somebody told me no when I was 22 years old didn't mean that I quit. I'm still chasing my dream of being the best baseball coach in the entire world, you know, and somebody might tell me no again someday, but that's not going to stop me because I love baseball, you know, and I love the connections that I have and the kids that I'm able to connect with and the coaches I'm able to talk to, you know, and I think that when we get the case of the twos and we deal with it a lot here, like kids always say to us, we can only play 3 months out of the year. That's not true. You can play more than that. You can play an indoor game. Just because you're not on a field doesn't mean you can't hit off of a pitcher live and create a game situation in here. Doesn't mean that you can't, you know, if you have the means to do it, fly somewhere and play in a tournament down south. You know, it doesn't mean that you can't play wiffle ball inside and simulate being in the World Series. That's all mental. You know, and that's why I love what you guys are doing because it's 100% about mindset. And if you have the case of the twos, you're creating a negative mindset that's going to probably force you out of the game at some point.
So you know, good.
We talk about a lot. And that's why, like I said, that's why I love what you guys are doing because you're changing the mindset of people to really think about like, what do you want? You know, don't give me all these externals, like the externals. I'm 5'9". Okay. I can show you probably over 100 people, 200 people, 300 people in pro baseball that are over 5'9". There's a kid in the Roll 5 draft yesterday. I went from the A's to somewhere else that was 5'6". Yeah. You know, there, you know, so I think all of that is just a lack of love at the end of the day.
Yeah, I love the no excuse zone too. We're coming out with a shirt. This is early access here, but it's going to come out and it's going to say "Suffocate your excuses" on the back, down the back, because it's like, dude, just put a pillow over and get rid of it. Like no more excuse zone, no excuses here. Like keep moving forward, keep working hard, and if you really care about it, you're gonna follow your dreams. I'm getting better at that one too, right there.
You know what? I was
going to say
something too, because I was looking at that, and follow your dreams is the greatest thing in the whole world, because you know how many barriers you're going to run into? How many barriers you guys run into on a daily basis on what you guys are trying to do?
All the time.
Oh yeah.
Same thing for me. It's the same thing with a guy trying to chase the big leagues. Like, let's go back to the Joe Mack thing. You think he went down to rookie ball as a first round draft pick and batted 400? Go look at his stats. He got like 7 hits in the whole summer.
Yep.
It doesn't take away the fact that he's still going to chase the dream and be a big leaguer in 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, he's following his dream. So he's going to take the good and the bad with it. It's the same thing. If you're not gifted being 6'4", you want to follow that dream, you're going to figure out a way 100%.
If I would have given up at roadblocks early on, I would have been done at like 11 years old.
I know.
When you're like 12 and you're playing little league and they're throwing like 80 miles an hour from 46 feet, and you're like, how? I can't even see.
Yeah, it's over.
My career's over. Yeah, I'm done. I'm never gonna make it anywhere. And the bat next year goes to being like the size of the telephone pole outside, so I can't hit anymore. You know.
Yeah.
But.
Well, hey, let's jump into this game. We call it on it or off it. We're going to go through a list of 10 things. You're going to tell us on each one, you're on it, you're for it, or you're off it, you're against it, and like a one sentence as to why.
Okay.
This is, by the way, same list Tyler Zuber got yesterday. So we're going to comp you and Tyler Zuber, big league arm. So let's go. Let's go. All right.
Good luck, Tyler.
I love it. We're clipping that.
Number 1, golfing.
On it.
Why?
I love golf. It's relaxing.
Very nice.
It's a mind game, and I'm really bad at it. So, like, yeah, I love it. So relaxing.
For guys that teach the mindset, we both crumble sometimes.
Yeah, that's the ultimate mental game.
For people that know me, I'm like the worst golfer in the country. I'm pretty bad, but I absolutely love the sport. I think it's great. I love to get on a golf cart and ride around with some buddies and talk and have a good time. Like, I think it's great.
There you go. Number 2, black coffee.
Oh, 100% on it.
Nice.
Like 4, 5, 6 coffees a day, black. I got a Keurig and everything. I got some on it.
Now I don't feel as bad about myself because I asked the question yesterday. I was like, do I drink too much coffee? Is that a thing? And my grandma was like, 2 to 3 cups is okay. I was listening to grandma.
I don't know how you do it with your weather. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's cold here, so like, kind of need the coffee deal to get through. But like, I don't know how you get keep warm. I actually respect that a lot more.
NASCAR.
On it.
Nice.
I drive a little too fast. So like, I kind of respect the NASCAR guys because like, I don't know how they stay in control of 200 miles an hour. I have no idea.
No clue.
But I think it's cool. You know, I will say this: it's a little boring to watch, but I respect how talented they are.
I'm on that. Monopoly.
On it. I'm a business guy, 100%.
It's tycoon.
Trying to build assets, baby.
That's right. Candy canes.
Ooh. On it. Seasonal.
From time to time. This month is okay.
Yeah, if you say it this month, we're good. I want to say if it was like May, I'm completely off candy canes.
Super Mario.
On it. It was literally how we got through college.
Yeah.
N64, Mario Kart.
Dude.
Super Mario.
The best. What's your best game on N64?
Yeah, Mario Kart.
Yeah?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Would you run the table?
Would I run the table?
Yeah.
Taking anybody.
That's awesome.
You two would be a really good matchup. Ray Mack is very good at Mario Kart.
I've grinded in my day.
Dude, you're like I feel like you're like a secret assassin. Like, I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm the best. And you're like, all right. I'm like busted now, yeah.
Yeah, confident people. You just don't need to spray it. Gas grills.
Off it.
Charcoal guy.
Oh, yeah. There it is. Better food.
Yeah, I feel that. Tyler was not on that. Tyler is a gas grill guy. The accessibility of gas grills was.
Oh, I can respect that. I will say this though, we don't really get to go outside and like have a lot of barbecues during the year. So like, if I'm gonna have a barbecue, I want it to be a nice, good charcoal barbecue.
Not a Foreman inside, George Foreman.
We do that too often. That's probably why I'm off.
There you go. Settlers of Catan. Have you ever played that game?
No.
Board game? Oh, then just throw out the off it. He didn't know about it either. 3-1 changeups.
On it. so much confidence in your pitching.
Yeah.
And like, dude, I'm sitting dead red. You throw me a fastball, I'm getting loose.
Oh yeah.
3-1 changeup, I'm gonna look foolish. So
who's the best athlete in your org that's been able to do that you can think about?
Matt Brash.
Yeah. Very nice.
And John DeMarte pitching the Olympics with Team Israel last year. Those two guys, very good changeups. I will say this, foundationally, going back to the foundation, fastball changeup gets you the show.
That's right.
Those two guys, I would say, well, Brash's slider is a big league pitch, but fastball changeup is what made them really, really good. So.
Very good. Last one. Opening presents on Christmas Eve.
On it. Now, I will say this, I'm a super faithful guy. So, I have 2 kids, and we're teaching our kids that obviously the season is what it is because of, the reasons of the season. But it's still super, super, super fun to open up some gifts. I think I'm getting some ski gear this year. So
let's go, baby.
There you go.
You ski or snowboard?
Ski, 100%. I tried snowboarding one time, thought I broke every bone in my body. A lot better than this.
Right here too.
If Byler could go fast enough, he would have broken every bone too.
This snowboarding is hard. Like, respect to snowboarding. It's hard.
The fact that they can go up these pipes and do these tricks and do
wild.
spin in the air, like I'm trying to just go straight. I'm like wavering, then the snow takes me over here, then I like spin around and face down.
I will go skiing. We obviously, like we said, we have a lot of snow, so we can go skiing a lot. But I just got into it the last few years. I think it's like a good outlet for me. So I'll go out and get out there. It's just cold. Like
you got to get real cold. That is no joke.
Yeah, that's some ice. Well, Ronnie, man, we appreciate you coming on here, man. All the stuff you're doing between Hot Corner, between your foundation, between Dugout Coalition, unbelievable. It's been fun to watch over the years too, and to see you guys grow as a company, as a program, and obviously yourself too, and what you've been doing and able to do. And the athletes, man, coming in, getting to know a few of those athletes, they absolutely love it, and they know how good they have it there. So we appreciate you, man, everything that you're doing. Before we wrap up here, where can people find you and Dugout Coalition and some of the stuff that you got going on here?
Yeah, so Hot Corner Athletics on all social platforms. Twitter's Hot Corner _, but Hot Corner Athletics on Instagram. And then for Dugout Coalition, it's just Dugout Coalition on all social platforms as well. Hot Corner and Dugout Coalition both do a really good job of putting some learning content online. So I think that's if your coaches that want some free, good learning content, some of the stuff that we're doing on a day-to-day basis, those are the places to go. Instagram is probably our best. That's probably the best place to go. But I'm trying to get my Twitter game up. I know for this whole NFT deal with Project Sandlot, I got to be on top of my game. So
that's right.
Notifications on, baby.
I'm on my game, Project Sandlot. So honestly, for you guys though, Major League University and Project Sandlot, I love what you guys are doing. I really appreciate you having me on here. So thanks so much for everything you do. We'll get together with a lot more stuff. And I know that you got a little project in Wyoming coming up. So I might have to call you in a little while and ask a little bit about that. So I'm super pumped for you guys. You're doing great. So thank you so much for having me.
We appreciate it
so much, Ronnie.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, we're back. What'd you think about, first of all, Ronnie's a great dude, Hall of Famer. The guy has such a good outlook on developing students and athletes. But what'd you think about the interview?
Oh, Ronnie's amazing, man. He's been a big inspiration and motivation to us, and just the things he's doing for athletes out there in Buffalo, as well as now across the country with Dugout Coalition and the stuff that he's created. I've never seen somebody take so much time and delicacy within his projects. I mean, every single thing is dialed to the T. There's no secret to the sauce. I mean, you can see the success that he's had there at his facility and how many people he's gotten in there and how they've grown, right? The new size of the new facility, and just some of the things that he's doing out there in the Northeast has been awesome. And especially during COVID, I think that was a big one where a lot of people were struggling, and he provided an opportunity for people, especially in New York, to get inside, to be around each other. And then the virtual aspect as well through our baseball school that we were doing. So it's been fun to watch Ronnie's journey. He's an awesome dude. A big fan of Griffey, right? His son's name Griffey. So just love the guy, man. And he's doing some great things and making a big impact in this world.
Yeah, he said one thing that I really liked where he was talking about, if I turned myself down in baseball, the minute somebody looked at me and said I was 5'9" and I wasn't going to make it, like that's not success, right? Success to me, even though someone told me at 22 that I couldn't play anymore, is now I'm focused on being the best coach in the world at what I do, right? So constant development, even if the end goal changes, right? It's going to constantly adapt. Like 90%, or well, that's probably too high, I would say 60% of all college students change their major once they get into college. So like you've adapted there, you're going to be able to adapt later in life no matter what hits you. You just got to stay the course, like we just mentioned in this week's Not Zen, bam, grind. Chew on this.
Chew on this.
Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Happy New Year for all of you that have been listening. We can't thank you all enough for supporting us, especially those 75 folks that have already jumped in and purchased POBs and helped us out on that. And again, $15,000 already that's going to be going towards youth camps in those underprivileged areas. So again, thank you so much. And we hope you guys all have a blessed week.
Peace.